Howdy guys, happy Thursday. I am filming to you from an incredibly special location. In fact, I told my wife that I am standing on holy, holy ground. Yeah, that's one less holy than heaven. This is Independence Hall in Washington on the Brazos. If you've never been down here, it's totally worth your time. I'm quite sure that all of you know that tomorrow is Texas's birthday. 173 years ago, our forefathers established this place. They declared their independence from the nation of Mexico, and they concluded the independence by saying, "We submit our cause to the supreme arbiter of all nations." And the 9 names were jotted down, and here we go. Texas is Texas. It's a beautiful thing. It's actually kind of fitting that I'm standing in here talking to you guys about what we're fixing to go over, the 10 Commandments. Students need to know 3 things about this. Freedom is actually found in rules, not the absence of rules. God was the one that declared the independence of the children of Israel. He's the one who set them free. They didn't sign a declaration. They just believed God and did what he said. But upon delivering them, he immediately began to write down the standards of how they were supposed to live. And rules really are essential for freedom to be found. And the best way I know how to describe this, and I'm going to give you all this analogy, I'm going to be using this analogy a lot with the students over the next couple months because we are going to get into the sex series. But the best way I know to help kids understand God's rules is this. They're like a fishbowl. You think about a fishbowl. If we were fish and God had placed us in a fishbowl, we would be silly, even foolish, for us to jump out of the fishbowl. See, because the fishbowl is what keeps us alive. Even though life might look better on the outside, might look more vast, prettier or whatever, it's when we jump out of the fishbowl that we die. But inside the fishbowl, there's freedom and there's life and there's joy. And this is really how we ought to view God's rules, if you want to call it that. They're put there in place not to spoil our fun. They're put there in place to keep us alive and to help us experience the fullness of life. And so as you're going over the 10 Commandments, whether you use that analogy with the students or not, just know that that's a pretty good way. I've had a lot of success with that for, 15 or 16 years. I don't remember where I read that analogy or if it was one I came up with my own. I just know it's one that stuck with me. But students seem to respond to it and understand it well. But really, we've got to emphasize that idea. God's not about ruining our fun. The lesson does a great job of emphasizing he does. He loves us, and he wants the absolute best for us. And he knows ultimately the best for us is himself. And this is one of the ways that he delivers himself to us, is by following him, abiding in him, is how John would say it. Jesus even went so far to say that if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. He was referencing these commandments right there. This is one of the ways that we abide in Christ. So help them understand that. The other thing that I'll say about this lesson, and then we'll be done, is finish chapter 19 with the students and then go into 20. And here's why I say that. It's important for students to realize, and I didn't realize this for a very, very long time, the 10 Commandments were not read to the people by Moses from the tablets. God himself delivered these words from the mountain to all the people where they could hear him. And it terrified them. You can see that in chapter 19. It freaked them out really good. But I bring this up simply to say these words are incredibly powerful. They're incredibly important. They were delivered to us in love. The lesson declares that to us really, really well. In fact, it's really solid material as always. But I think it's good to remember that these words actually came from God's lips. When Mom wrote me a note and gave me directions, I kind of took them seriously. But when Mom sat me down, or Dad sat me down and said, "This is what I need you to do," I remembered them so much more, but I tended to take them a lot more seriously as well. And God took the same approach with his kids too. And so we should take these words seriously. Guys, I love y'all. Happy birthday, Texas. And I can't wait to see you on Sunday.